It's Opikoa coming at you with some purple Luffy action today. This is the most consistent purple ramp deck you will ever play. Let's get into it. Alright, what's up? We've got our first game here against Lucci. Let's get this going. Okay, so we're jumping in. We are on the even curve. Sorry, we're on the odd curve. We're going first. Turn 1, we had no plays. Turn 2, we're jumping in, and we're immediately ramping a Dawn, swinging 5 at leader, and then we're going to develop this Zoro. This is the game plan every time going first, unless you do not find Zoro, or your other option is to play something like Mr. 2 to ramp a Dawn, which will save you a life on the next turn, because the ideal card, which we have, is this Luffy Taro on 7. So here we go. This is turn 3. We have 6 Dawn, which is crazy. We're going to swing 5 with leader, 6 with our Zoro that we developed. Then we're going to ramp again, drop Zoro into Sanjoro. Okay, this is the ideal curve here. And look at this. Our opponent is down to 5 cards. Kills our Sanjoro, which is fine because we've got another Luffy Taro play here. So then we're going to go 5, 7, 8. Take him all the way down to 2. And we're going to develop 2 bodies again. He's going to 8 Dawn here. So it'd have to be a Gecko play, which he has the cards to do it minus Lucci in the bin, but he wouldn't be able to minus the numbers enough to really make a good Lucci play. So what's he going to have to do here? He's going to have to swing for board and try and develop something. His best play here is probably Jack, Ice Age, Jack, Tempest Kick, something along those lines. He's going to swing with Brook. I'm going to counter out, and he just doesn't think he has enough. Okay, and looking at his life, he has 2 more Gecko Morios. Those were non-counters. He has 2, 4, 5, 6, 7k counter, and then we were going to have a full board going in this next turn because you're going to be able to counter out. Even if he swung everything into like a Zoro, maybe he'd get that, but we'd have 4 swings and 10 Dawn. So yeah, as you can see, this deck is crazy aggressive, and the curve is so oppressive because of being able to ramp like you do. Okay, let's take a look at our next replay. So this one's going to be an interesting matchup into Katakuri. Now Katakuri is going to really pressure our life, making it harder to ramp. So what do? We're going to counter out aggressively and still shoot for our crazy curve, which we've got it again. And you may be thinking, okay, he's just lucky, he's hitting his 4 cost and then always finding his Luffy Taros. Okay, maybe that's true, but you also are running 4 searchers, which are going to help you hit this curve very consistently. So we're not just lucky, this deck is built to be this consistent. He's going to swing 7, though. I don't want to give up a million cards to defend out of this. And here's the Searcher in hand. When you're at sea, you fight pirates. But we're just going to go 6, 5, 6, ramp, drop. We're going to drop Queen because we don't have something to drop off of Luffy. And then we're going to look for some cards, which when you're at sea searches for heart pirates as well. So that makes this Law searchable, and Law is really good in certain scenarios. And our opponent is looking like he could have been in that scenario if we didn't swing. He countered out, so we could have gotten 2 cards from his hand using Law, but that's okay. Here we've got our Queen set up. We've got a blocker. He dropped Gadatsu, no value. And now we've got a good Luffy Taro Sanjoro play, and we've got 4 2Ks in hand, so we're pretty stacked. I'm thinking about swinging this Queen. That would probably be a mistake because it's a free block on the Perospero right now. Okay, he's going to develop a Nami, which is Gonna get rid of the Sanjuro, of course, and then go Perospero. 6 into 6 is not gonna do it. We're gonna 1K out of this for sure. 7 to 6, we've got plenty of 2Ks. Let's give him the 2K. And then he's gonna do it again, 7 into 6. I've got another 2K. So yeah, and now what are we gonna do? We're gonna clean up his board and pressure life. So he's got 4 cards in hand. What are our options here? Oh, okay. Hear me out, folks. There's a really interesting Kaido line right here. We're at 8 Dawn. We can ramp with leader, and we can pop the standing Nami and then swing into board. 6 into 6. We're going to try and eat cards from his hand. I kind of wish I saved our 5K swing. Maybe he wouldn't have drawn any of these cards. So go for the Nami. Then we're going to go into this Gadatsu. Whoa. Okay, wait. One thing with Katakuri is maybe you don't clear Perospero because he's a Big Mom searcher. It's going to help him find his big 10 drops, which is what we're afraid of right now. 10 and... Oh, actually, sorry, I'm thinking of pudding, so we don't have to worry about a 9 drop. But either way here, I've got plenty of counter, a huge board, and he's at 1 life. He's going to try and deal with this. I have all the counter in the world. He's going to Katakuri. He can put one of my cards to life, but that's not going to do it for him. He puts one of his cards to life, but he's only got 2 cards in hand. So we have the 7/7 because Kikanoja's a no counter. 9/11 for game. 7/7. Sorry. Yep, 7/7/9 for game. Which is only a 3 Dawn investment, and we'd have extra swings. So anyways, yeah, that's an interesting matchup. Katakuri pressures life, but your curve is so strong that sometimes you can just play through it. Okay, let's take a look at another one. This is into Ace. Okay, you don't see Ace very often, but as you can see, we've got our Zoros. So we're probably going to find our our Luffy Taro here. We're going to ramp to 4 Dawn. And then I'm like confused because how did this Viola end up on the board? Well, he hit a trigger from a card I've never seen in my life. Let's see if I ever highlighted that. I could never doubt a woman's tears. So yeah, anyways, we dropped the Zoro, and guess what? It finds us our Luffy Taro, and we're in business. We've got Luffy Taro into Zoro. And then he's going to swing. We're going to counter out. We're just going to go 5/6 into Luffy Zoro here. Zoro could find us a 2K or a Sanjuro. We go with a 2K because next turn we're going to be able to ramp and drop Lin, which is definitely going to be a better play than dropping the Sanji. So we did hit a 0 cost event out of life, which would have been a very interesting thing to trigger there because it would have let us not have to take a life to ramp a Dawn. But we're going to gain a life off of Lin anyways, so it's not that big of a deal. And also, he has 2 life, so can he realistically live here? And he takes a 7K swing after playing Flame Spit to rest down Zoro. We swing 8, and yeah, he was completely bricked up in his hand. And we obliterated that ace. Okay, and we've got one last game into Blue Doflamingo. And this matchup is the matchup of the meta, right? You've got to think, what can we do into this deck? Well, it turns out our really good curve is still just good. So look at this. We top deck Mr. 2. And this is crazy because what it does is it actually gives us an extra life because we don't have to ramp using leader ability. So we do it for the first turn, but we're not going to have to do it the second turn because we'll be going to 7 Dawn on turn 3 so that we can drop Luffy Taro. And we don't really have a target for it yet. I'm thinking maybe we drop the Franosuke. He bounce laws my Bon Clay back to hand, which is almost beneficial because ramping is good for me. And then I 2k. So I top deck this Sanjuro here, and our curve is now perfect. We're just going to Luffy into Sanji and swing. Obviously, I should have swung before I dropped Luffy Sanji because they are on Gravity Blade. Usually, or sometimes. So that's a trigger out of life that you don't want to hit. Okay, so he drops Teach. He's going to load the Dawn onto Dofi. Put a Jinbei to the top. Cheats out of Boa. Boa's going to let him organize. And add a Dawn to... If I was him, it would probably go on this Perona or the Law. Because I want to be pressuring as much as I can. He doesn't. He adds it to the leader. This was a swing I was going to take anyways. So that Don's actually not getting much done there. Okay, he clears his own Perona by playing another Perona. So now I don't have to worry about that swing. And he actually just passes, not swinging Law. I think in this matchup, you really got to get aggressive. I know that I have big bodies. But the thing is you've got Perfume Femur, and putting me to 0 is very, very scary. So what we're going to do is we're going to try and fight for board. He just gives it to me. And then my hand's looking very powerful. I've got Bon Clay into Kid. I've got Luffy. I could vanilla Luffy. I've got Queen. I really want to get this Kid down though, because next turn we're planning on doing some Dawn minusing. We've got Queen, which is huge in this matchup. We need our blockers. But yeah, so we do just do Mr. 2 into Kid. And then on his turn, right, he's only at 8 Dawn. 2 of that's going to Dofi. He's going to leader ability. He knows his top card because he played Boa. He's going to go 8 into 6. This isn't going to get it done because I do have this event. He goes Jinbei. So he could use Teach to cheat 2 Dawn onto something to swing at this Sanji. But again, if I'm him, I would have actually been very aggressive in this matchup. Yep, so he swings 6. We're going to give him a counter. And then... yeah, I mean, here we're just going to clear board. But let's see what our options are. We can dump this non-counter, gain a Dawn off of Kid. So now we've got a full board, and we're going to use all this Dawn to clear his board. So we're going to swing 7s into 5. We are going to swing with this Mr. 2. Again, if he's not swinging at life, we're very happy. We'd rather have him trying to trade into board. But I think what we do here is 7-7-9, because we can use the Kid. I'm still thinking whether or not I swing the Kid. But what he does is he's actually thinking about a trigger off of life. So this is probably what we feared, which is a Gravity Blade. Yep, so Gravity Blade taking away our Kid, and then we're just going to swing 10 into life and pass. We've got him down to 1. So cards like Kaido, Lin off the top are going to be immensely powerful because he's probably not going to take us to 0 here. He needs to deal with our board or go for game himself. And what he does is he loads 5 Dawn onto leader and is going to try and control board. Now the crazy thing is 10 into 6, we're just going to let him have it. Because if I get to keep any of these cards on board, we're going to try and game him next turn, especially if he swings with Boa. So he thinks about swinging with Jinbei first. But what he does is he swings with Teach. What I kind of make an interesting play here. you'll see I block with queen because if he wants to commit 2 swings to deal with Bond Clay or Luffy Taro, sorry, to deal with Bond Clay, which he has to because he's going to die next turn if he doesn't, then I'm okay with that. So then he loads up the Dawn and ends up swinging 9 into our queen, which we did the math before this and we knew we had 2k in case Jinbei does commit to this queen swing. So either way, he needed to deal with board, but guess what? Kaido was on top. We're popping this blocker. And then we've got 5, 5, 6, 8, 10 to try and get rid of his last life and get a swing in for lethal. So, I mean, I probably would have controlled board first. So pop Boa, swing out into his board, and then try and get his last life. But yeah, this deck is awesome. Yeah, give me a moment. We'll jump into a deck tech really quick. Okay, so here's my version of Purple Luffy. We're on 4 Bond Clay, 4 Fronosuke, 2k counter, 3 Kid, 1 10-drop Luffy, Gear 5 Luffy, 4 Sanji, 2k counter. That's why we play him. 2 Lin Lin. Lin Lin is really good. You didn't really get to see it, but gaining a life back after you were taking it so aggressively can really swing the match back into your favor and help you control board. Kaido, because Kaido finishes games. This card's crazy. Kaido, crazy. 3 Queen, just a very solid card. 2 Law, being able to force your opponent to make them counter out early because they have to respect this card is very important, and it kind of enables that aggressive playstyle that like Doflamingo does because of pudding. So yeah, and then we've got 2 Usohachi, 4 Usohachi, so we're on 12 2Ks because we are kind of on quite a few bricks, and then Usohachi is really good for finishing games. Again, kind of supporting that aggressive playstyle. 2 Onami. If you could get more into here, that'd be great because it's also not a bad Luffy Taro target, but you have to be at 9 Dawn to get that on play because you're going to -1 from Luffy Taro. 4 Sanjoro. I mean, being able to draw from attacking is just so strong, and it's the ideal drop off of Luffy Taro. Then 4 Zorojuro, just a great searcher, really helps the consistency of this deck. 2 Gum Gum Jet Gatling. Again, we play a lot of bricks, so this kind of helps de-brick the deck, and it's searchable off of your searchers. And then 4, when you're at sea, you fight pirates, again, for consistency. So like the least consistent card is this, but you only want to see this to finish games. So you don't need it. It's not mandatory. I just think it's a great option. Anyways, thank you so much for watching. Hopefully you enjoyed this. If you take this list for a spin, let me know how it goes in the comments below. Until next time, peace.